Welcome back. I ended up having back surgery about a month and a half ago and hadn't really done anything since till maybe a week and a half ago. I've been kind of getting back to it. This is an 88 M3 that was left back on early January. Customer stayed and helped me get the trim off. Got everything off except tail lights and door handles, looks like. And we're gonna have to get the windshield taken out at some point. There's a little bit of rust developing under the seal. And this thing up here, and I'll have to also pull the sunroof out of it. But I'm trying to leave it to where I can park it outside if I have to, so it's not completely open to the weather. And I'm just gonna work on it as much as I can until I get to the point where I've got to get those things taken out. I've gone around and marked this quarter for just dings, and this has actually been replaced at one time. So I'm gonna have to go around, fill all these little dings, sand those to bare metal just to fill before I put filler in it, sand it to bare metal. This door I think I've marked for the most part, and this fender's gonna have to be stripped. It was blended when quarter was replaced, and door might have been damaged too or something, but this whole side's been painted, and just like that M5 I worked on, there was no prep for the blend. It was just clear on clear here. And I don't know how far back it goes, so I'm probably just gonna strip this fender. May do it with a DA, may put paint stripper on it, haven't decided yet, but main thing I'm gonna do is continue on with the hood. I've gotten about halfway across it. I'm gonna go around and mark the dents here. There actually are some high spots in it. See if I can find one of those to show you. Right in here, there's a high spot there. There's a couple of those. It needs a little bit of adjustment. This gap is okay here, but it's a little tight there and a little bit wide on that side, so I'm gonna try to just shift it like this in the back. Get this to line up a little bit better on this side. You can see that, it gets kind of wide there. And needs a little bit of adjustment here to get it back closer to the fender. This fender is back some. This is gonna have to be pulled out. I'm probably gonna have to measure off the body somewhere in there and pull it out to make it match the other side. It looked like it had been pushed in about a 1/4 inch at some point. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish marking this. Then I'm gonna wash it really good, get it clean, and start tapping down these high spots, and I'll sand through. I don't think there's anything deep enough that needs to be pulled with a stud. That one might need a stud, we'll see. Maybe I'll push it from the back side, not have to burn the paint. There's another high spot right there. Just gonna tap these down, go ahead and clean the hood really well, and start the filler work on this, and then work my way probably around, maybe around this way. Since we got to strip that fender, I may just go through this. This fender is pretty good here. I don't think there's anything damaged at all. It had been replaced at one time and it's really straight. So I may just come around this way, work on this door, go around that way, eventually do the roof, but I want to leave the sunroof in it right now. So I'll probably end up working on the roof last, and then once I get all the primer on it, then I'll figure out which kind of plan I want to take to paint the thing. This is fiberglass here. All the other trim parts I've got stored, so I'll work on those after everything on this is done. Okay, I've probably had about 20 marks on the hood, just either a high spot or a dent. And I took the underhood pad out, and I've got access to pretty much the whole hood. This thing has been painted once, at least. I can see some dings right in here, and other places where I can see some downward dents that are smooth on the outside, and I can see sanding scratches. So there's body filler at least in a few areas. It may have had hail damage at one time, but I think I might be able to get 99% of these out and not have to put any filler in this hood. It's just going to be the ones on the edges, like there's a little bit of a low spot here, right here. But if I can get my PDR tool down in this channel here, I can work most of those out, at least to get it level enough to where the primer will level it off when I go to block sand it. So really all I'm left with was, I got a low spot here. I just knocked that up some. So I think I might be able to get by with that right there. and let the primer take care of the rest of this. There's a ding here, and I've got clear access to the back of that right there. So I'm just going to keep working, and as I get these level, I'm just taking some thinner and wiping off my marks. So once all these marks are gone, I'll know that I've taken care of everything. So I only got a few left. I'm waiting for the ones around the perimeter. I'm going to take care of with my PDR tools, but these I'm doing with hammering a knockdown. Trying to get at least get it high, and then I'm tapping it down with this and the hammer. And I'm starting with this on the high spots. But I'm gonna keep going here and get all of this leveled off where I know that there are no more dents and ridges in it. And then I'll take it out. I'm gonna just back it out and wash the hood really good and start sanding it and getting ready for primer. Then I'll probably prime this hood by itself. All right, I'm down to, I think, 4 or 5 spots that I couldn't get out. There's a little bit of filler here. I don't want to work it too much and crack it. It's a spot right here on the edge that I'm not able to get to underneath. It's too close. Hood frame's too close to that. One little spot right there that I can't get to either. A little bit of a wave right in here, can't access. And I think I see some filler in that. And this is a piece that filler cracked on me as I was trying to work it out. So got those 5 little spots. I'm gonna go ahead and take this down to bare metal in those areas that are marked, and I'll be back for the filler. I'll show you that. All right, I've got everything peeled back where I can get some filler on just bare metal. This spot here, that's just metal, so is this. Just pulled it back a couple inches around where I need to fill it, just to give me room to feather it out. This one up here, it's low there and there. You can see where I hit metal there first, so it's low. I'm going to fill this entire strip and just block it back out around that, and this will probably come back out visible. This right here, I sanded some of this through to where I thought the cracks were out, but when I went to blow it off, it actually fell off right there, so it had debonded. Other than that, it looks like it's bonded pretty well. I'm going to leave that and just fill this back up, level it off. Same thing here. I went into this filler. All this looks good. It's stuck pretty well. I'm just going to put some more right in here where it was low. This area right there. I'm going to wipe it down with some wipes and grease remover real quick and go ahead and get the filler out. I'm just going to spray this on the rag. I don't want to saturate the filler, even though it'll evaporate pretty quickly. I don't want to just wet it out on the filler there. On these spots it wouldn't really be a problem, but I'm just going to do the same process on the whole thing so I don't forget when I get over there. This is just to get the dust residue off that didn't blow off, and also any fingerprints from me touching it. I'm going to blow that off with air just to make sure it dries out of the filler, and I'll give it a few minutes, then I'll put filler on it. It'll take about 15 or 20 minutes to set up, and I can go ahead and sand it. And we'll get some epoxy on it. Okay, as soon as that starts to tack up, I'm going to go ahead and start sanding the rest of the hood with the DA and some 180 grit. And whenever I get back to these spots that I just put the filler on, I'll actually block those out and finish it in 180 and then feather that back into the rest of it with 180. So I'll have 180 in everything. But this is just a waste of time to stand here and watch this dry. I could be sanding the rest of the hood, but I don't want to get too much sanding dust stuck into it. So I'm going to give it about 5 minutes. It's already been a couple. Then I'll start sanding the rest of the hood and come back. At that point, when I'm done with that, then this stuff will be hard enough I can sand it and I won't have any downtime. Alright, now that the filler is set up and I've got everything else sanded, I'm going to go over the filler right here in these two spots. Probably that one back there. I don't think I need to worry about the side, but I'm going to break these open with 80 grit on the DA just to get the top layer of the filler off that's kind of sticky. And then I'll start blocking those out. The spots over there are going to be really, really thin. Those two over there, so I'm just going to hit them with the block. And that should be all it takes. Plus those will sit there longer, harden up longer while I do the other three. It'll get a little bit easier. As soon as I get those broken open, I'm going to get the 80 grit on that block right there, that Durablock, and I'm going to block these three places out. Alright, it's ready for epoxy. Everything's blocked out. Took about 5 or 10 minutes to block these spots out with that 80 grit. It cuts really fast. This is ready to go. I'm trying to contain it to just bare metal, but I have a little bit into the factory E coat or something here, but that's going to be okay. As long as it's not on too many layers of paint, it should not show. This is ready to go. This is all on metal. This is a little bit of filler on filler, but bare metal everywhere else, no paint. And that was just a really thin coat where I had to take it off to the metal there. I blocked out real fast. So this is all blocked with 180. There is some 80 grit left around these areas where I took it to the bare steel. So I'm going to go around it now with around the bodywork at least with 180 on a soft pad so I can get some good contact. Then I'll blow this off and I'm ready for epoxy. I've got about 3.5 hours in it now from the point where I marked all the dents, washed it, worked all the dents out, then did the body work, and now I'm ready for paint. About 3.5 hours. I'll end up doing about an hour worth of primer. I've got to put the epoxy on it, let that sit for 30 minutes to an hour. And then I'll put 3 coats of high build primer over that. So that's going to take 15 minutes between coats. So that's a minimum of 30 minutes there of total application and flash time plus some cleanup time there to get the gun cleaned out. So I'll have about an hour or so of paint time in this. So we got 4.5 hours or so, and this hood will be finished and ready to block out for paint. But I'll work my way around the car after. Okay, we're ready for epoxy. I just went around the outside and put a perimeter of tape just to keep the overspray from going right around the edge as much. I've got plastic just pulled all the way down, covered up the back. I didn't even cut it out of the box. I just ran it out of the box and kicked the box under the car to hold it tight. And I may just leave this cover on it and just pull it back as I need to work on the car, just to save the plastic. Got the epoxy mixed up. I actually mixed it up before I went to block the filler so that it could sit for its 30-minute induction time while I block the filler. So now that I've got the filler blocked and it masked off, I can go ahead and get it done. And while I'm letting the epoxy cure, I'm going to go work on some mirrors that I've got off another car. that need to be primed, so that while I'm sitting here waiting on this for an hour for its flash time to then put the high build on it, I can be working on those mirrors, and then I can prime all 3 of those parts at the same time. Alright, this is going to be 1 coat of epoxy. I went ahead and did 1 more wipe down with wax and grease remover probably 10 minutes ago before I masked it off. That's going to sit for at least 45 minutes or so, and then I'll start mixing up the primer. So by the time I'm done with that, or getting mixed, this will be ready to put on. And I'm going to work on those mirrors now. I went all the way around the perimeter just because I like to break through to the bare steel around the edge to make sure that it sticks. I'm not sure how well the last person sanded those edges, so I like to sand all the way around it with the DA and break through that edge. So I've got epoxy on that to cover that bare metal, because after I get the high build filler primer on this, it's going to have to sit for probably a couple months at least till I get the rest of it primed and start blocking. I'm going to go get the mirrors ready to go, and I'll be back to prime this in a second. Alright, first coat of high build. I've got to hit that set of mirrors right up there between the coats of this. I'm going to go work on that. Here it is after 3 coats. I meant to mask off the emblem area there and didn't think about it. Just plugged it with some silicone plugs and put some tape on that so I don't get paint all over those. I'm going to get some guide coat on it in just a little while here, but you've seen that before, I think. So I'll be back when I get some more body work done.